Zach is taking the stand first thing out the gate. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. We haven't even had a chance to, I haven't even had a chance to say hi to everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Good morning, Donnie, Miss King, Akasha, Michelle, Aurelia. Yay! Snowmageddon. Oh no. 24 in San Antonio. That is insanity. Hey, Sherry. Good morning. All right, you guys. Did I miss anybody? I hope I didn't miss anybody. Hey, Henny. Good morning. Good afternoon to you. Hi, Tanya. Welcome. You guys, he's taking the stand. Hi, Tina. He's taking the stand. This is gonna be crazy pants. Crazy pants. Hold on, my lips are drier than all get out. Let me get something on my lips. Hold on. Yeah. He looks nervous. You should be nervous, dude. You should be nervous. You should be nervous. Tina's listening, working, and lurking. Work and lurk away. Here we go. Oh! This is gonna be good. This is gonna be so good.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. May it please the court, Your Honor, the defense calls Zach Hughes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. Please state your name for the record.
Zachary David Hughes.
Zach, how old are you?
I'm 32 years old.
Are you married?
No.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I do.
Tell this jury about your brothers and sisters.
I have 5 brothers and sisters. One is my biological brother, Eli, and the rest are my adopted siblings.
At one point, did you have 6 siblings?
Yes, I did.
Talk about that in a minute. Where were you born?
I was born in San Luis Obispo, California.
Did you grow up in the entirety of your childhood in California?
No, I did not.
From California, where did you and your family move?
We moved to Southwest Virginia when I was 11.
While you were still living in California, did you discover that you had an aptitude for music?
Yes, I did.
What, if anything, did your mom or dad do by way of an instrument to help you learn how to play music?
When I was maybe 4 or 5, my dad found an old Gobranson upright piano at a yard sale, and he bought it for, I think, $300 and rolled it down the street to our house. So I had an instrument to tinker on when I was young, even before I started piano lessons.
Describe, just in general to this jury, what was your, while you were in California and early on in Virginia, what was your home life like? What was it like to grow up in your house?
I had a great childhood. I have great parents. They raised my biological brother and I before we adopted in a Christian household. They taught us good values, the importance of good morals and service to others, and they supported me in every way imaginable, and I'm very grateful for them.
Zach, you may want to back up just a little bit from the microphone. I think you're getting just a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a little better. Thanks. Describe for the jury, you talked about your Christian values in the household. Describe for the jury sort of the, early on at least, the connection between your parents supporting you playing music and the Christian dynamic in your family.
Yeah, originally when I was 9, my parents started me on piano lessons. Our pastor's daughter taught piano lessons, and my dad wanted me to play hymns and family devotions.
You testified earlier that you and your family moved to Virginia. Tell this jury where you and your family moved in Virginia.
It was a town called Abingdon. It's right next to Bristol, Virginia, which is known for the NASCAR Speedway.
Describe to the jury what your family's residence was like. Where did you live, and sort of describe that dynamic.
We moved to a small 3.5-acre farm. My parents liked the idea of raising some farm animals and giving my brother and I the opportunity to do physical work on a farm, and just the opportunity to be close to nature and grow up understanding the value of hard work.
In 2005, did your family grow beyond just you and your brother and your parents?
Yes.
Describe for the jury how your family grew in 2005.
The church we were a part of at a time really encouraged adoption, especially for families or couples who weren't able to have kids at that point in their life or at all. And as a result of this belief in the church that it was good to adopt, there were emails that would be passed around occasionally, and there was an email that was passed around with a photo of 5 Russian siblings who were up for adoption in Russia. And my family saw these photos, and our heart really went out to these kids. At first we thought they were all boys because their heads were all shaven for lice, and they were all wearing sort of the same kind of clothes, hand-me-downs. But there were 3 girls and 2 boys. And after a lot of prayer and thought and discussion about it, we decided we wanted to adopt these kids because essentially if we didn't, who would?
So, just briefly, let's talk about these kids. How old was the oldest child at the time your parents adopted them?
She was 10.
What was her name?
Her Russian name was Yelena, but we gave all the kids American names. So her name was Grace when we adopted her.
So Grace was 10. How old was the youngest?
18 months.
We're going to come back to them in just a little bit.
Hey guys, okay, I have to say ask a quick favor for Miss Margaret here. I was waiting on her to pop into the chat, and here she is. You guys send Margaret some prayers. Her pupsters is not feeling well. He's not feeling well at all. So, our sweet little boy, he's not feeling good. So I would love it if you all would throw some love and hearts and prayers out for Miss Margaret's puppers, and she calls him Puppy. Puppy. But he's not a puppy. He's an adult puppy, right? Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I hope he feels better soon, Margaret. I hope you get things figured out. 13-year-old golden retriever. Riley is his actual name. Vet appointment at 8:40 your time. Okay. Okay. Mm. Oh, thank you, Sherry. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. A lot. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Here, let me give you some sparkle. And I'm going to give Gossip Rumor and Innuendo just popped in. She said, OMG. So let me give a little sparkle to our newest member. And I'm going to give Margaret one of these because I know this is how she's feeling this morning. And yeah, lots of prayers and good vibes your way, ma'am. Latanya has a Riley too. All right, we're going to get back to this. Yes, Miss Kathy. Zach is on the stand.
At some point, did
Hey, Miss King.
you and your family move to South Carolina from Virginia?
Yes.
How old were you when your family moved to South Carolina from Virginia?
I believe I was either 15 or 16.
Where did you and your family move in South Carolina?
We moved to Travelers Rest in Greenville County.
During this time, describe for the jury what is going on in your music progression, your life as a musician, and how you're progressing.
Like I said, I started piano at 9, and when we moved to Virginia, I became increasingly more interested and motivated in it. So by the time I was, say, 14, 15, I was practicing on average 6 to 8 hours a day. We were homeschooled, so this allowed me to do this. And by the time we had moved to Travelers Rest, I was very convinced that I wanted to pursue music as a career.
You testified you were practicing a lot. During this time, did your father do anything to provide the rest of the family some peace while you were practicing so much?
Yes, I like to practice late into the night and into the early morning hours, so my dad actually built me a soundproofed room out in the garage so I could do this without waking the neighbors.
So as your musical capabilities improved and increased, while you were in high school, did you participate in any music festivals, specifically regional music festivals?
Yes, many.
Did you ever win a prestigious regional music festival?
Yes, several.
Describe to the jury what opportunity you were given in connection with the South Carolina Philharmonic Orchestra.
In 2011, I participated in a high school piano festival in Columbia, South Carolina at the University of South Carolina called the Southeastern Piano Festival. And part of this festival, there was an international concerto competition. A concerto is a piece for a solo instrument and orchestra, so in this case, solo piano with orchestra. And that was the Arthur Fraser International Piano Competition, and I was awarded first prize. And part of first prize was the opportunity at a later date to perform a full concerto with the South Carolina Philharmonic. And maybe a year later, we did Beethoven's Emperor Concerto.
You testified about high school and your progression as a musician in high school. I want to talk about college. When it came to go for you to go to college, where did you apply to go to college?
I applied to 5 different conservatories in the country.
Were you accepted to any of those conservatories?
I was accepted to 3.
Where did you decide to go to college?
I went to the Juilliard School in Manhattan.
The year you applied, what percentage of applicants were granted admission to Juilliard?
I believe it was 7.2%.
And you were one of those musicians.
Yes.
When you were accepted, what, if any, inducements or incentives did Juilliard give you to attend their institution?
They offered me a generous financial aid package and a merit-based scholarship.
When did you begin your education at the Juilliard School?
I matriculated in the fall of 2011.
I want to talk about what you did while you were there. While you were at Juilliard, did you have an opportunity to participate in an international music festival?
Yes, I did.
Please tell the jury about that.
There is an international music students festival in Kyoto, Japan, which is called I think the Rome Music Foundation sets it up, and they try to get music students from all over the world, from different countries, so they get a sampling of different countries, and they have a relationship with Juilliard, so an email was sent out to the student body asking if anyone wanted to participate, and I was selected to represent the States in Kyoto for this festival.
And so how many students from around the world participated in this festival?
Maybe 15 to 20.
And how many from America were selected to participate?
1.
And that was just you.
Yes.
Did you graduate from the Juilliard School?
Yes, I did.
When did you graduate?
In May of 2015.
And what was the degree you obtained upon graduation?
A bachelor's of music and piano performance.
Just briefly describe to the jury, after you graduated, what did you do in the music field for employment immediately upon graduation?
I did what a lot of conservatory graduates do who decide not to immediately pursue a higher degree. I did a lot of freelancing. I did some solo gigs playing concerts. I did some accompanying. I taught some students. And I even took on some work in restaurants to supplement my income.
At some point, were you given the opportunity to be on staff with the Knoxville Symphony?
Yes, I was.
When did you receive, or when was that opportunity given to you?
I heard about the audition, I heard that a spot had opened up for principal keyboardist in the Knoxville Symphony, and I heard about it 3 days beforehand. So last minute, I learned a bunch of excerpts and auditioned, and I was fortunate enough to get the job in 2017.
You talked about the principal pianist. Tell the jury what the principal pianist, what that title means and what your function was.
It is a principal keyboardist, so it's basically any instrument part in the orchestra that has a keyboard I would be playing. So it could be piano, harpsichord, synthesizer, celesta.
I love Dexter.
When did you begin your employment as the principal pianist for the Knoxville Symphony?
In 2017.
When did your employment end with the Knoxville Symphony?
In 2018.
What did you decide to do in 2018 that required you to leave the orchestra? Or the symphony, rather.
I decided to enlist with the Marine Corps.
So, you're a classically trained pianist. You have an opportunity with a symphony to perform with them, which is regular employment, and you decide to leave that and go serve your country in the Marine Corps. Is that correct?
Yes.
Describe to the jury why you decided to leave your job with the symphony to serve your country in the Marine Corps.
Since about my sophomore year of college, it had been something I'd been thinking about, military service. And obviously there's a window of time that you're able to do that in as you get older. You hit age limits and so forth. And it had just always been something I was interested in, the service of others, service to others aspect of it. I felt like, in a sense, I owed a debt to my country and to do some military service. And I also wanted the opportunity to experience a difficult training environment. And I figured the Marines they had a reputation of being the hardest, so that's the branch I decided to go for.
What, if any, attributes of your childhood or the home environment as you grew up, what, if any, of those attributes played into your desire to join the Marine Corps?
I think the way my parents had always instilled in us a good work ethic and an important sense of just a moral duty to others, it seemed like a very good opportunity for me to further develop some of these things in myself.
You testified that initially you enlisted in the Marine Corps. Ultimately, did your journey continue as an enlisted person in the Marine Corps?
No.
Why not? Tell this jury.
I was speaking with my recruiter, and they ask you a lot of questions, just trying to figure out who you are and what aptitude you might have for different aspects of the service you're going for. And he found out that I had a college degree, which meant, unbeknownst to me, that I was eligible for officer candidate school. So as soon as they found that out, they tried to funnel me into, it's a different recruiting program, but they got me in touch with the officer selection officer and encouraged me to go the officer route.
During the selection process for officer candidate school, were you living in Tennessee at the time?
Yes, I was.
And briefly, if you would, describe for the jury during that period in Tennessee what the process was that was used for officer candidate school or OCS for selection.
It's a little different than recruiting. You have to go through a pretty rigorous selection process to even be invited to OCS, so you spend a lot of time with your OSO, or your officer selection officer, and it's their job to essentially train you up and get you ready so that you can pass the review board to get an invitation. So when I was living in Tennessee, I was doing a lot of training with him preparing for this.
In Tennessee at the time, was there a board that also was tasked with reviewing applications for OCS?
Yes, there was.
And the cycle where you participated or your application was evaluated, do you know how many applicants the board authorized to go forward with OCS during that cycle?
One.
Was that your application?
Yes, it was.
Let's talk about OCS. At the time you began your journey in the Marine Corps, did Marine Corps personnel try to push you to a different area than you wanted to go to?
Yes, they did.
Describe to this jury what they asked you to do or what they wanted you to do.
As a recruiter, there are different boxes that I think you get bonuses in a certain sense if you can check, and one of those is the Marine Corps Band. So when they found out I had a background as a pianist, they really tried to get me to join the Marine Corps Band.
And when they asked you to join the Marine Corps Band, what did you say?
I declined. That wasn't the reason I wanted to join. I wanted to experience a different side of life, and I was interested in infantry.
Let's talk about OCS. During officer candidate school and your time there, were there metrics that were used by OCS personnel to evaluate physical fitness.
Yes.
Describe to the jury what those metrics were.
There's something called the PFT, the physical fitness test, and it consists of 3 areas. It's pull-ups to failure, maximum crunches under 2 minutes, and a 3-mile timed run.
What's a perfect score on that?
You can get a maximum of 100 in each of the 3 areas, so a perfect score would be 300.
What was your score?
294.
Ultimately, were you able to complete officer candidate school?
No, I was not.
Why were you not able to complete officer candidate school?
I was dropped after the 3rd week of officer candidate school due to level 3 stress fractures in both of my tibias.
So you had broken legs.
More or less.
At the time you were forced to leave officer candidate school, what percentage of the class were you in?
I was in the top 3%.
Do you remember how many members were in your OCS class at this time?
Good morning,
It was more
Cal.
than 400.
When you left OCS, how did you leave it with the Marine Corps?
The CEO of Quantico, which is where Marine Corps OCS is at, asked me to return. He essentially told me to go home, heal, retrain, and come back.
And we'll talk about this more, but ultimately, did you return?
No, I did not.
At this time, do you consider yourself a United States Marine?
No, I do not.
Why?
That's a title you have to earn, and since I haven't completed my training, I did not earn it.
After you suffered the fractures in your legs, where did you go to rehabilitate and to heal?
I went back to Traveler's Rest, where my family is, and I stayed with them while I was healing.
And just to put a time on this, is this approximately 2019? Is that right?
This is late January of 2019.
So now you're living with your family in Traveler's Rest here in Greenville County. While you were living with your family and rehabilitating your legs, were you presented with an opportunity to play music?
Yes, I was.
Describe to the jury what that opportunity was.
Through a series of mutual acquaintances, a woman by the name of Jeanette Wynn sent me an email and asked me if I would be willing to play an inaugural concert for their church. They had just received a gift of a very fine piano, and they wanted to have this concert sort of as a thank you to the donor and to show the congregation what it sounded like.
And so you were asked to perform using the gift of the piano that the church had received. Is that correct?
Yes.
What was your response to that invitation?
At first I was inclined to say no because I was about 6 months out of practice. But the more I thought about it, it seemed like it would be a good thing to do while my legs were healing, so I accepted.
Describe to the jury, when did you play the inaugural concert on the piano on that particular?
I believe it was in June of 2019.
Were you to be paid for the performance?
Yes, I was.
Describe to the jury what the arrangement for the payment would be.
It was a flat fee honorarium for this one concert.
And was the concert well received?
Yes, it was.
I want to talk about, just briefly, you mentioned Jeanette Wynn in your introduction to the Wynn family. You first met Jeanette Wynn and other members of the Wynn family in what year? Was it 2019?
In 2019, yes.
And over time, did you develop a friendship with the Wynn family?
Yes, I did.
while you developed this friendship, did you share with the Wynn family a long aspiration you had held in the music context?
Yes, I did.
Tell this jury what that aspiration was.
Growing up, Beethoven had always been my favorite composer and something of a personal hero. And in 2020, that was going to be the 250th birthday for him. So I had this dream that I really kind of put on the back burner when I was intending to go through OCS. Well, this dream of playing all 32 of his piano sonatas in a series of concerts. And in passing, I shared this with the Winds.
And when you shared that aspiration you had with the Winds, what was the reaction of the Winds and their church members?
They were very enthusiastic about the idea.
And so their support of your dream, what effect did that have on your decision to go back to the United States Marine Corps?
Playing all of these sonatas is not something you can really just decide to do. You need a venue to present them at, so you need external support. And when I realized how enthusiastic the Winds and their church congregation were about this, I realized that there was actually a real way to do this. So it presented me with a very difficult decision, whether to go back to OCS or whether to do this passion project of mine that I didn't think I was going to ever be able to do. And I eventually chose to do the Beethoven sonatas.
Let's talk about this project. You said 32 Beethoven sonatas.
Yes.
How many pages of music comprises the 32 sonatas?
It's over 600 pages.
If you played those from beginning to end, how long would it take to get through all 32 sonatas?
It depends how fast you go, but roughly 11 to 12 hours.
To your knowledge, how many people have been able to accomplish this
Hi,
endeavor?
Cat.
I don't know the exact number. It's not many. It's something probably only a dozen or two pianists have ever recorded. As to how many pianists have actually done it, I don't know if there's a record of that.
So let's talk about what you did to prepare. We're in 2019. When was the first concert on this project? When was that? When were you to perform that concert? When was that scheduled?
In January of 2020.
Where was that going to be? Where was that performance going to take place?
At the Winds Church.
To prepare for this inaugural concert, where were you living?
At first I was living with
Right, Sherry? She says the defense attorney is painting one heck of a picture for the jury. I mean, we've been live 37 minutes. He was on the stand maybe 2 or 3 minutes into the stream. So he's been talking nonstop for 35 minutes about how awesome he is. I mean, let's get to the meat and the potatoes.
my family, and at a certain point the Winds extended an invitation to me to live with them because they had a piano that I could practice on, and I think they wanted to hear me practice.
So let's talk about January of 2020. Did you have your inaugural concert for this project in January 2020?
Yes.
And where did you perform this concert?
At the Winds Church.
Were you to be compensated for this concert series?
The concerts were donation-based, and the church and I had agreed to split the proceeds 50-50.
Did you perform that concert in January of 2020?
Yes, I did.
How was it received?
Very well.
What percentage of the project, meaning how many sonatas, did you perform in the first concert?
I played 3 sonatas in the first concert
When was the next concert?
in February of 2020.
How many sonatas did you perform in the second concert?
I think 2,
When was the third concert?
in March of 2020.
And how many sonatas did you perform in the March concert?
I believe 3.
Was there were you able to perform a fourth concert in April of 2020?
No, I wasn't.
Why not?
COVID had happened, which was making public gatherings impossible at the time.
So up until April of 2020, if you had to guess, what percentage of the project were you able to complete in those 3 performances?
Maybe a fifth to a quarter.
All right. During this time, were you working anywhere else to make a little extra money?
Yes, prior I had been working at Gianna downtown serving, and at some point I started working there again after COVID had happened, and I also took on some work with my dad painting houses and laying brick.
So when the pandemic hit, did that put a complete end to your music performances?
For the time being, yes.
At some point, did you decide to perform outside during the pandemic?
Yes, I did.
What instrument did you use to conduct performances outside?
I saved up some money and bought what was the best electronic keyboard on the market at the time, and I needed something portable, and I also wanted something that would do justice to the pieces I was trying to play, so it was a Roland V piano.
Where did you, or how did you get the money to pay for the piano?
Through working with my dad.
So after you got the piano, did you begin to play music on the streets of downtown Greenville?
Yes, I applied for a performer's permit for public spaces, and then I started several times a week taking my keyboard downtown and playing these sonatas at various spots in downtown Greenville.
When did you start performing in downtown Greenville?
It would have been sometime in the summer of 2020.
Where were some of your most frequent locations where you perform music in downtown Greenville?
Probably the most frequent was right in front of Spill the Beans at the entrance to Falls Park, where the fountain is.
I want to talk about an evening in August of 2020 while you were performing outside Spill the Beans. While you were performing, did anyone make contact with you and introduce himself to you?
Yes,
Who was that?
that was John Mello.
Was John Mello by himself, or was anyone with him?
He was with his daughter, Aida Mello.
How old, best you can recall, how old was Aida at the time?
She was 8.
Tell this jury about the interaction you had with John Mello when he first introduced himself when you were in front of Spill the Beans.
I didn't know who he was, but he came up and said he was a musician and asked if I'd be willing to take a request. He said his daughter's favorite piece was Claire de Lune, and I know that piece really well. It's a favorite piece of mine, so I played it for her.
What, if anything, did you observe about Aida while you were playing Claire de Lune?
Like I said, she was 8, so she was pretty young. I had taught a lot of kids before, so I had experience with kids that age and their attention spans, which tend to be very short. So I was really impressed. I could see her out of the corner of my eye, and she was just enraptured from start to finish. She wasn't running around, she wasn't on a device, she was just completely caught up in the music, and that made a big impression on me.
After you played John Mello's request, before he left, what, if anything, did he give you?
He gave me a business card.
Did you use it to make contact with him after that first meeting?
Yes, I sent him an email.
Why did you follow up and begin to communicate with John Mello after that first meeting?
I got the impression from a few things he said and from the card that he was in the rock and roll world, which that's something I had never had much contact with as a classical musician. And he seemed like a great conversationalist. He was charismatic and outgoing, and I thought it'd be interesting to get coffee with him at some point.
And did you meet with John again after that night in August of 2020?
Yes, I did.
I want to talk about the period between the time you met John and Aida Mello in August of 2020 until the beginning of October of 2020. During that period of time, how many times did you physically meet with John Mello?
Maybe 6 or 7 times.
When you met with him, was he by himself or was with Aida with him?
With one exception, Aida was always with him.
Tell the jury what the activities you and John and Aida would do together in that period.
We'd get coffee a few times.
I noticed that too, Michelle. Haven't really seen him take drinks of water much until now. And he took 2 back to back and swirled it around in his mouth because he's getting dry mouth. Now he's starting to get nervous. He wasn't nervous before, and now he's starting to get nervous.
I saw him and Aida spontaneously because I was performing and they walked up like the first time. We got pizza once. We went to an art gallery, things like that.
Tell the jury what your impressions were of Aida as you got to know her in the late summer, early fall of 2020.
They were extremely positive. She's a really special kid. She was definitely mature beyond her years, like I talked about. She could hold a conversation with adults. She looked you in the eye. She seemed really cultured, like she'd had a lot of exposure to different places. She'd traveled like almost as much as I had. She was always telling me about trips she and her dad had taken, and it was just very evident to me that she was a very healthy, loved child. She clearly loved her dad, and it was obvious that he had done a great job raising her. And I was convinced that she was a happy, healthy kid, and he was a great father.
Let's fast forward to the beginning of October of 2020. When is your birthday?
October 2nd.
On your birthday, October the 2nd, 2020, how did you celebrate your birthday?
At this point, Aida had visitation with her mother, Christina Parcell. So this was the one time I saw John where she wasn't with him. And John wanted to show me some of his favorite taco stands out on White Horse Road. So we celebrated my birthday together and went to a couple bars, had dinner, ended up getting tacos at the end of the night.
At the beginning of the night, what was John's mood?
Very festive.
By the end of the night, had his mood changed?
Yes, it had.
Describe what his mood was at the end of the night.
Towards the end, at one of these taco stands, he became very pensive and even distraught. And he started to tell me about really grave concerns he had about his daughter, specifically when his daughter was with her mother, Christina Parcell. And he essentially said that whenever Aida's mother had visitation, he just never could rest easy until he got Aida back. And that he He just didn't trust her, and he thought that she wasn't responsible and that she might even hurt her at some point. And I mean, frankly, it kind of, I mean, the mood of the evening took a big dip because of this. It was clear that he just was terrified about the danger his daughter was in, and this made a big impression on me.
So, when you were with John on your birthday on October 2nd, 2020, where were Aida and Christina Parcell?
I believe they were on a road trip to see family, maybe in Alabama or somewhere farther down south.
When was she due back to Greenville?
I believe the next day, or in the next couple of days.
When she returned, where were Aida and John going to go?
They were going to go to Italy.
Did John tell you that?
Yes.
When John told you that he and Aida were going to go to Italy, what did you think about that? What was your reaction to that?
I thought it was great. I knew at this point that John's parents were Italian, and Aida, I thought, stood to gain a great cultural experience from it. And I just thought if I had had the opportunity to travel and live in Italy when I was 8, I would have jumped at that. So I was really excited for both of them.
Did they go to Italy?
Yes.
So in October, John and Aida Mello go to Italy. Tell this jury what you're doing in October, November of 2020, musically and otherwise.
At this point, musically, I was still performing on the streets of Greenville, and I was also talking with someone who curated a museum of historic instruments downtown, the Sickle Music Museum. This man was Tom Strange, and we were discussing the possibility of revamping the Beethoven project I had been planning to do that got cut short by COVID by essentially doing the concert series again throughout 2021, but this time recording them so that we wouldn't have to deal with the issue of gatherings with COVID going on.
And did you and Tom Strange solidify a plan for resurrecting the Beethoven project?
Yes, we did.
Just generally speaking, describe for the jury sort of the intensity of the schedule, the intensity of the lead up to that project.
Yes, so as a classical musician, at least, just because you've played a piece doesn't mean that, like, you know it forever and you're never going to forget it, and it's never going to cost you any more work. It would be like you may have run a marathon once before in your life, but if you haven't trained for a year, it's not going to be easy for you if you go and try to do it again. So I was going to have to relearn all of this repertoire because I had only been playing certain of the sonatas downtown. And with the recording schedule, I was going to be meeting with him. There was going to be other people and other equipment involved. So essentially, I was going to have to commit to a schedule where we'd meet more or less once a week to record one sonata a week throughout 2021 and stick to that schedule. So it was going to be strenuous and a lot of work, and I knew this going into it.
And when was the first recording set to occur on the project with Tom Strange?
I think around January 2021.
And beginning in January, how many performances on the project? What was the time frame on the remaining performances on the project?
Again, it was roughly one a week. These sonatas are not all the same length. Some are short as like 12 minutes. Others, one lasts about 45 minutes. So depending on the piece, we were allocating enough time for me to get ready.
All right, so let's talk about from, again, October to April of 2020. John and Aida leave in October. Between October and April, describe to the jury what the communications were you were having with John Mello, the frequency of the communications. Just tell them about
Like I said, I was excited for them. I was excited for Aida to be able to have this experience. Based on what John had told me about Aida's mother, I thought it was good that there was distance in between them. And our communications had died off a bit after they left. John is interesting. He's also a lot. He's a very dramatic person, and it was a bit of a relief to just not be running into him downtown all the time, because I had a lot of practice I was doing, and sometimes I didn't have time to hang out as much as he might have wanted to. So our communications petered out.
Were you relieved in some ways that your communications with him had slowed down or stopped?
To a degree, yeah.
All right. In April of 2021, did your communications with John
I know, right? That that phrase drives me crazy, especially in this situation. Yay, yay, yay. Yay, yay, yay. You guys doing okay in the chat? If we have any newcomers, I would love and appreciate it if you would hit that thumbs up button. Thank you. Sorry for the glare on my glasses. I had to turn my overhead light off. My eyeballs and head are on the verge of exploding. I've got a headache I cannot get rid of. All right, back to it.
and the frequency of them increased dramatically?
Yes.
Why did your communications with John increase dramatically in April of 2021?
Like I said, our communications had petered out, but they hadn't completely ceased. So he had let me know that Christina Parcell, Aida's mother, had been filing, I think, some stuff with the family court in Greenville in order to try to get her daughter back. He was very worried that she might succeed in doing this for reasons I've already spoken about. And in April, he sent me a message, and it was clear from the text that he was very upset, just saying that, Zach, they took Aida. What am I going to do? Something about along those lines.
After he told you in April of 2021 that they had taken Aida, did he begin to tell you in greater detail what his concerns were and more information about his concerns?
Yes.
What happened next?
At this point, I found myself in kind of a conundrum because, like I said, I had appreciated having some distance from John. But by the same token, I was becoming increasingly more concerned about his daughter, Aida. So while I might have wanted to not continue communicating with John for the sake of his daughter, I felt that I had a certain sense of responsibility to help him with what he was dealing with this custody battle for his daughter's sake. We began communicating probably every day, at least by text, often by phone calls. I was giving a lot of time towards hearing what he had to say, towards trying to help him in any way I could. Some of the things I did to help him were, first, he needed counsel. He needed a lawyer in family court. So I was calling a bunch of lawyers in Greenville, trying to find someone who could help him, and by helping him, help Aida. I ended up cleaning his house in Greenville. He had left it with a tenant who absolutely trashed it. It was like nothing I'd ever seen. Like the air was hardly breathable. So I was buying a dehumidifier, getting cleaning supplies, hiring Mikey Manigo, who testified last week, to help me clean out his house so that he would have a place to show family court. that he had a home that would be a safe place for a little girl and him to be living in. I told him when he came back, I'd pick him up from the airport. But notably, while we were having these conversations, he began to tell me in much more detail what his concerns were about Christina Parcell. And, well, in order for you to understand what my reaction was to what he was telling me, you need to know what my experience was with my oldest adopted sibling, Grace. So when we adopted these kids, we really didn't know much about them.
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach? Sure.
Oh, Jesus, 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 Jesus. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go now. Here we go now. Yay, 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 yay. Oh, this is going to get ugly. This is going to get ugly. I don't know, Michelle. I don't know. Or was the sibling older than him? Is he going to try to say that one of them did something to him? Oh my God, I'm so confused. So confused. This is going to get so hairy. As soon as they felt like it's something, when he said first, before I can explain why I did what I did, you have to know what happened to me. I could feel his voice I could hear his voice start quivering the sentence or two before. Look how packed that courtroom is. They are packed like sardines.
Will you please take the jury back to their wonderful room?
And we don't get to hear any of this. Because apparently the judge made a determination that, see, now early on, we got to hear some things outside the presence of the jury. But all of a sudden, the judge is like, okay, yeah, if the jury's out of the room, the cameras are off. So now, I'm going to be leaning in on, there we go. There we go. Think his sibling was abused. Yep, I'm heading over to X. Let me go over there. Hold on, I gotta put my reading glasses on. These old eyeballs. Here we go. Okay. Well, the last tweet I have is from 9 minutes ago from Gigi that says, as we get deeper into Zach's testimony and he opens up about Christina and what he learned about her, the jury is sent out while the state doesn't want Christina's deposition from 2016 coming in. Come on, I gotta have more information. More information. See, there are other people on Twitter saying he's giving them bad vibes. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little bit creeped out the way he was talking about the daughter. You know? Yeah. What? Hold on a second. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to sift through. Mhm. Someone says Hughes testifies that John Mello told him about the concerns he had. Judge instructs defense to stay away from questions involving sexual abuse of Hughes's adopted siblings. How did Mello and Hughes meet? How did Hughes meet the defendant? I feel all of that was a setup. Okay, I'm not sure about that. Hey, Cynthia Bojack. Hello, hello, hello. Um, Someone says, and I can agree with this. Um, Someone here on Twitter named Remongolazo, I don't know how to pronounce that, says, okay, so let me get this right. I can kill someone and say, hey, she was in imminent danger, so I saved her, and that should be a pass. Well, then we would have a heck of a lot of killers set free. True. 11 minutes ago, someone named Seton Tucker, I don't know, says Hughes compares Christina Parcell to his adopted sister, who he describes as a psychopathic vampire who sucks the goodness out of others. What? Um, Lord have mercy. I don't know. I do not know. I'm just trying to get through some of these tweets. Uh, there's so many. Oh, the judge is back. Hopefully. It is so dark in here now because I've got this overhead light off. But you ever get those headaches? I've been struggling with headaches for feels like ever now. It's been days and days and days and days of all day long headaches. And I don't know if it is the blood pressure or if it is the lack of caffeine. However, I was having headaches before I stopped the caffeine. Please don't go back to a break. I want to hear some testimony, Judge. I don't, Michelle. I don't have any blue light lenses. I should probably get some, huh? Sherry, I don't know. It feels like a vice grip, but then I'm also getting like a lot of like pressure behind, like my eyeballs hurt too. It don't feel like sinus pressure. It feels more like a vice grippy kind of headache. I have been Akasha. Yeah, I've been checking it at home. Yeah, I had an echocardiogram the other day, and the doctor wanted me to have that done for purposes of like seeing what she needs to do next medicine wise for my blood pressure, because she increased my blood pressure medicine as high as it'll go. See, now they're going to go back to the seal. Daggone, we better not have another day like yesterday. And hey Tanika, good to see you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I heard you singing that song the other in your one video after the morning after video, you know. Oh, we got audio. And you sang like the whole part of it. I always sing the good morning part because that's all of it that I know.
Please continue.
My blood pressure is not normal, no. Akasha, no.
Where we left off, you were telling this jury about your oldest sister, Grace.
Yes.
Continue.
I don't say this lightly, but my oldest sister, Grace, was the most evil human being I've ever met in my life. She was 10 when she came into our family. The Russian government didn't tell us much about the kids, so we weren't aware of any, if any, behavioral issues there may have been. And there were many, but specifically with her. I would describe her without reservation as an affectionless psychopath. It wasn't that she was immoral, it was more that she was amoral. She didn't have a sense of right and wrong. Her emotional compass was seemingly non-existent. She was just dead inside. She was a masterful manipulator and deceiver. She could lie at the drop of the hat for reasons that might involve her personal gain or just for the heck of it. She would invent the most absurd, crazy, gruesome stories just to get a reaction out of people. And she could talk about this stuff with the same tone that you might talk about making a sandwich. And this from a girl that I knew between the ages of 10 to 14. It was incredibly disturbing, and the things I learned about that type of personality have stayed with me my entire life, because I've never met someone like this since. And with one exception, I had never even heard someone describe another human being like this. And one of the things that is so dangerous about someone like this is, she was literally like a vampire who would just suck the goodness out of other people around her. She could be very emotional, and she would fake these emotions in order to elicit a response in you, a sympathetic response. And if, for instance, you were accusing her of doing something like stealing or hurting one of her siblings, she would weep and just beg you to believe her and say, no, I didn't do it. And then if you would present her with irrefutable proof that we knew you had indeed done this, it was like a mask would just fall off her face. And I mean, she'd just look at you with shark eyes. And no matter how many times we would go through this cycle with her, where she would deceive us and betray our trust and hurt people in our family, she would always reel us back in, because there's something in normal, good people that wants to believe that someone like this can change. You want to believe that, you know, there's redemption for someone like this and that they might change their ways and become a better person. And she knew that. And she would use that in order to ingratiate herself again and regain our trust, only to betray that big trust again harder than she had the first time. And this happened dozens of times, and it created an incredible amount of strife in our home. She could manipulate my parents and drive a wedge between them. She was just an incredibly intelligent person and incredibly evil. And having met someone like that, it made me able to understand, and even though I didn't want to, accept the fact that people like this exist, whether you want to believe it or not. And if you trust them, you are only ever going to get hurt by them again. You have to forgive them at some point. And that was a very difficult thing for me to do. It took me years, but eventually I had to accept an apology from this girl that I never got and was never going to get. And I had to do it for myself. But I would never trust her again. That would be insane, for my own safety or for the safety of others. So this is an experience which I think is somewhat unique. I think most people have not met someone like this. And I mean, we might watch true crime documentaries or things like this, and we know that technically these people are real, but they exist on Netflix or in someone else's lives, and we never once believe that it could be someone we know, or that it could be someone living next door, or that it could be someone that our children play with, or, you know, someone we might allow to look after our kids. So knowing this is essential to understanding my reaction to what John began to tell me about Christina Parcell in April and May of 2021 after Aida had been taken back to Greenville. He started describing Christina Parcell's character and her personality. And as he was going through various points, he kept saying, Zach, I know you're not going to believe me. Like, I know this sounds overblown and dramatic, and you probably think I'm exaggerating. And under other circumstances, I would have, because John does, I mean, he's a big storyteller, and, you know, when people are talking about their exes, like, everyone thinks their ex is the Antichrist. So, of course, I was sort of predisposed to be biased against what he was telling me, except for the fact that point by point, everything he described about Christina Parcell was exactly the same as my sister Grace. He told me that Christina Parcell was a master manipulator. He said she can lie at the drop of the hat and you'll never know it. He said she was incredibly charming. He said she was incredibly intelligent and talented. He used to say she was smarter than he was, but that her biggest fault was that she was lazy. And she had this arrogance combined with her laziness that was essentially born out of the fact that she knew she never really had to work too hard at anything in life. And she could even sacrifice trust with people and tell them lies that could easily be found out, because ultimately she was completely confident in her ability to reel someone back in, no matter how bad she had burned them before. And he could have been describing Grace to me because I knew this behavior. I had lived through this behavior. So at this point...
I'm sorry. When he was describing these features to you of Christina, had you ever told him about Grace? Did he know anything about Grace?
No. I don't make a habit of talking about Grace to people. One, it's incredibly difficult to speak about, and two, most people, having not met someone like that, it just doesn't really land most of the time. They don't understand what you're talking about. So no, John had no idea that I'd had this experience with Grace, which made me realize that there was no way he could have possibly invented this, because no one would get it right point by point by point unless they had met one of these people. And that was the first thing that really raised a huge red flag with me and made me think that despite the fact that he can exaggerate and overblow the truth, and he's often not very believable when you listen to him, I was convinced at that point that he must be describing something true, because no one would know how to describe it so specifically and accurately if they were just making it up. And I was right to believe him. So, in addition to this description of her character, and one last thing about Grace and Christina by correlation, one thing Grace was she had an addiction to doing was not merely stealing from you or sucker punching one of her siblings just to assert dominance or doing other terrible things to her siblings. She would recruit her other younger siblings to do these things for her. She would get off on making little duplicates of herself and training and enlisting her siblings to act as proxies for her, so that she wouldn't actually get in trouble, because she knew that we all had our eyes on her because of her behavior, and we knew we couldn't trust her. So if she even had 2 minutes with one of her younger siblings where no one was within earshot, she would tell them, hey, Mom's gonna go check the mail. I just saw the mail truck go. When she's doing that, I want you to go run into her bedroom and go into her jewelry, or go and get this for me and we'll split it. Go and get that food that Mom said we can't have till the weekend or something. So she was an incredibly corrupting influence on anyone around her that she could exert her influence on. Again, I call her a vampire who sucks the goodness out of others. This is an incredibly appropriate metaphor, because that's what vampires do. They're intelligent, they're dead inside, and they eventually kill the people around them unless they find someone who might be useful to them, and then they create a duplicate of themselves that they can control. And this is exactly what Grace would do. So when John was telling me all this, I realized that there was an incredible danger that what Christina Parcell was a future preview of what Aida Mello could potentially become if she was left in this woman's custody and was raised by her. And the facts have borne out that I was right. But
Yes, Your Honor. Sustaining. We'll instruct the jury to disregard the last comment.
Zach, at some point was Grace actually removed from your family?
yes.
Describe for this jury why, or the circumstance or the event that prompted her removal from your family.
It had been 4 years of what I've been describing. She had been sent to different girls' homes around the country, many of which had records of never expelling a single student, and she was the first for many of them that they expelled and sent back to us. And it finally just got so bad that we realized she was going to be a physical danger to our family. I discovered a diary that she had made where she described in detail my parents having their eyes gouged out and dying, and how once my parents were out of the way and dead, she would be able to assume her role as rightful queen of the country. So she just had these psychopathic delusions of violence and grandeur. And we called the SS and asked them to remove her from the home.
We're going to come back to that in a second, or in a little while. You've testified about things that John told you about Christina. Did he also provide you with other information about Christina that informed your opinion of her or what you came to know about her?
Yes.
What were some of the documents or other pieces of information that John provided you?
No objection to hearsay.
No, we're not offering it for its truth. We're offering it to show what he knew. In State versus Vic, I've cited, Your Honor, we are not offering it for its truth.
Federal.
Go ahead.
He offered me, among other things, three very pertinent collections of information. One was the photographs that have been discussed that I sent in mailings to various people, along with advertisements from an escort website, which were connected with these photographs. These photographs were of Christina Parcell in various stages of undress. And John told me that they were prostitution advertisements from her previous career as a prostitute. And looking at these photographs, there was no doubt in my mind that that's what these were. And I don't say this in any way to try to shame. It's simply that, I mean, who said it? Like pornography, you know it when you see it. Well, I think the same can be said in terms of these photographs. They were not cute, sexy, intimate photographs that someone might send to someone they're dating or something. They were lewd and tasteless, and there was a very clear element of advertising, a commercial element. So when I looked at these, there was a vacant, arrogant, almost derisive look in her eyes that reminded me so much of my sister. It was a look that said, I can get you to do whatever I want because you want what I have to offer you. And coupled with this was a deposition from 2016 that Christina Parcell had given.
And 1 second, Zach. Let me show you, Zach, what's been marked as Defense Exhibit 46. Take a look at this.
Yes, this is the deposition.
All right. This time the defense removed Defense Exhibit 46 into evidence.
State objects.
They're all probably like this,
Not hearsay. Not here.
with their jaws on the floor. Right? Jaws on the floor. Yay, Kel's finally caught up. Kel's finally caught up. Hey, anybody, if I missed you coming into the chat, Miss King says he thinks he's the smartest, or not Miss King, sorry, Michelle says he thinks he's the smartest person in the room. I know. Oh, Donnie. Just wait till he gets to the murder part. Ooh, Henny, right? So he didn't see red. He saw his sister. Yeah, no emotion. Emotionless. It's almost like when he was describing his sister, he was describing himself. Honestly. Very messy. Messy, messy, messy. You think so, Aurelia? She said he does, but like that creep who took out his girlfriend, they lived in the trailer. As soon as he gets put on cross, he'll lose some of that sureness and smugness. Gross weed baby. Yuck. I know, I hate that phrase. I hate that phrase. Okay. I forgot we're a couple minutes behind. Let me zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. Just shake your rump. Do the Humpty Hump. All right, we're live. Still on the seal. Do, 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 do. Do the Humpty Hump. Do the Humpty Hump. Wayne Baby's 5 minutes behind. I'm not sure which one you're talking about, Aurelia. Guy that lived in the trailer that killed his girlfriend. Oh, I know who you're talking about. They lived in the RV. I think I know who you're talking about. Is that who you're talking about? He had the long brown curly hair. What was his name? In Vermont, yeah. What was his name? I forget. And you're right, he did. He did. Yeah, what was his name? Let me go and look. Let me look from my phone. Hold on. What was his name? I don't remember. I don't remember. Let me scroll back and find that. Who was that? Hanyok. Good for nothing. No, not the police officer, Donnie. What was his name? Where is it? Oh, it was the anniversary wedding. Remember, they were on vacation for their wedding anniversary. Joseph Ferlazzo. Joseph Ferlazzo. Yeah. Akasha, what's a NP? Got pulled to cover a NP, and now I have no idea what is going on. She works at a doctor's office, maybe a nurse practitioner. Hi, Rodney. Welcome. Yeah, it was Joseph Ferlazzo. Okay, she says nurse practitioner. Okay. So, so Rodney says just woken up in the AU as well and would like a quick summary. So the summary is Zachary Hughes is on the stand this morning. He is on the stand this morning, and the first 35-40 minutes was spent talking about his awesomeness and how he's the world's best pianist. And, okay, Kel, drive safe, ma'am. Have a great day at work. And he started talking about how he met John Mello and he met the young child who they've said her name all over, so I'm going to say it too. Her name is Aida, something like that. And he went on about how he had 5 adopted siblings from Russia and how one of them was, he called her a vampire of goodness, so that she was a psychopath and this, that, and the third. And the way that John Mello described Christina Parcell, he said he could have been just as well describing his adopted sister because it sounded like they were the same person. And that's pretty much about as far as we got. They started talking about the material that he was mailing out to those people in the manila envelopes, and then the state objected, and they went to a sidebar, and now we're on a little bit of a break. So they must be arguing outside the presence of the jury at the moment, and we're waiting on them to come back. We are waiting on them to come back. Mm. Oh my goodness. So sorry. Big yawn. Hmm. This is a really good tweet from someone named Lizzie Yordi. This was for 5 days ago, though, but it's the truth. She says, "This is everything wrong with child services. A professional doing everything in her power to place a child with a parent who is subjecting her to unspeakable things, meanwhile, painting the father out to be a lunatic, likely losing his mind trying to save her." I mean, you ain't wrong. Okay, hold on. No real updates as of yet. Yes, thank you, Morgana, for that. Make sure if you're popping in and you haven't yet, we would love it if you would hit the thumbs up button. Would love it, love it, love it. It really helps kind of let YouTube know that you like what's going on here, and in turn, they will share it to other people who don't know that we're sitting over here in the corner of YouTube watching this trial. Michelle said, "I think this dude has multiple personalities. Maybe there were no adoptive siblings." Well, his family is there in the courtroom. I'm sure that they have, you know, vetted that, right? I would think. You're welcome, Rodney. Um, Aurelia says pee pics aren't illegal. He hasn't talked about anything incriminating against Christina yet. Well, and two, that material has nothing to do with CP. You know what I'm saying? I mean, her naked photos is one thing, but that has nothing to do with CSAM. So I don't know. I mean, there's a. I could see how they could easily twist it into and, narrow that down into the CSAM material, but, or the CSAM stuff, but I don't. I mean, they're making Christina to be this vicious, vile person. The jury's going to want to know why. You know what I'm saying? Or they're left filling in blanks in their head. For all they know, they physically, like, don't get me wrong, that she was physically abused. But I mean in the way of, like, punching her around, other forms of physical abuse other than what she endured for how God knows how long. Really. Oh my goodness. These yawns are hardcore, man. Yeah, Michelle, I'm not so sure either. How old is a little girl now that she'll have to testify? Well, I mean, she was 10. No. I gotta take that back. Oh, shoot. I'm forgetting how old. Was she 13 when it happened? So she'd be like 16. Oh, was she 8? Or maybe she's 13 now. Or 12. She's young. That's all I know. She's young. I wish CPS cared when I was a kid. Oh, Aurelia. That's awful. I'm sorry. Good morning, Shell Bell. Good morning. So his point so far is she reminded me of someone evil from my childhood, therefore. They did. They adopted a lot of kids. They were 5 or 6 that they adopted. They were all siblings from Russia. He testified she was 8 when they would share coffee. Yeah. According to Gigi, she's 13 now. Okay. Ms. King says, and the problem is the judge is limiting so much. If he is on the stand, he should be able to say why he did what he did. I agree. Here's what I want to know, though. This is a question I have. I was thinking about this last night. I'm like, nobody knew for sure, like, confirmed, that this little girl was being abused in the way that she was until after she died. So, was that really the reason he killed her? If they didn't really have proof? You know what I'm saying? Like, none of the pictures were brought out until after she had been murdered by Zachary Hughes of the CSAM stuff. So, did he just go in there with the opinion that she was doing? You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like, it would make more sense to me if they had these photos before he murdered her, but I don't know. Hi, Ian. Welcome, welcome. This is a new one for you. The trial, you mean the case? Or this channel? Either way, welcome and hello, hello. Miss King says true, but the father probably had an idea that there was something wrong. Oh, I'm sure he did. Absolutely. I mean, of course he did, because that's why he kept going to the cops and to, child services stuff, agencies. But, you know, in my mind now, I'm kind of thinking, okay, the defense is like, okay, we find all this information out about this CSAM, so now that can be why you can tell them that you killed her. You know what I'm saying? So what was the real, what was the real reason why he did it? In my opinion, he did it because he was influenced by John Mello. But then again, I don't know. I don't know. This is crazy. The case, okay, Ian, it's been a wonky donkey case. It's been crazy for sure. So much. So much. Let me go back to Twitter again. Still nothing. Oh, the yawns are getting me. Too early today. I should not be yawning this early. Should not be. Dun, 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 dun. Someone says something on Gigi's Twitter. I see a hair hanging off of my microphone and it's like in my face. They say if I were a juror and later found out all the stuff the judge isn't allowing in, it would leave me with such unrest. Yeah. Gigi says same. Ooh, somebody said, so if he's found not guilty, will he go in unalive grace? Lord have mercy. I'm so sorry, guys. Oh my God. That's what I get for not drinking caffeinated coffee, but I don't want my heart to blow up out of my chest, so there's that. Okay. Grace is his sister, Chrissy, so you must have missed all of that part. Snow. La 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 la. Lots and lots of snow. You're right, Tanika. The daughter could have told him. I mean, you're right. That's true. Very true. Still doesn't justify him killing her. If there were CSAM, it would have been the golden ticket for the dad to get full custody. Yeah, Aurelia, they're so apparently the judge made it a rule as of late that anytime the jury is out of the room during like argument, then the camera is to look at the seal. And we can't hear nothing or see nothing. That's why we didn't get to hear or see anything yesterday. Except for the dude's opening statement. Sorry, my phone's being annoying. Let me turn it on Do Not Disturb. Chrissy said, I have said from the beginning he was hired by Mello to do it. He will not roll over on Mello until he is convicted. That's just my opinion. His vampire sister, right? CPS has been a problem for a long time. I'm old, and when I was young, my older sister called Anonymous because we could hear the kids next door being abused and left alone. The police came out. She answered with his vampire sister. I did. I'll go back and watch. Okay. Okay, good. Yeah. There are vampires in this story, not on my bingo card, right? I know, right? Didn't see that one coming. Miss King says, and the father said the kids caused the bruises to each other and started yelling that if he found out who called, there would be trouble. Eventually, the mom took the kids and ran. Oh my God. Okay. We have an empty seat. I like his chair. I want to sit in that chair. Can I sit in that chair? It looks soft and gushy and comfy. My chair is soft and gushy and comfy too, but that chair just looks. I have FOMO. I want to try his chair out. According to Zach, his sister was a vampire of goodness. Is what his words were. His sister was a vampire of goodness. Ween Baby said, I think he was too, or something similar. I think Mello told him to do it. Oh my God, Aurelia. Holy cow. Wow. I'm so sorry. That's God. Yeah, Ian, that's true. That's true. I mean, you hear about that a lot. Even the people that is saying, we'll take the kids, so we'll be good to them in foster care. And, let me just first say, thank God for foster parents, because that can't be an easy job, right? But also, there's a special place in hell for people who do want to be foster parents, but want to be foster parents for nefarious reasons. Because we hear about that more and more and more, and that's the worst. I'm not saying Mello didn't have legitimate reason for concern. I'm only saying that I believe Zachary got there by way of Mello, hence the WhatsApp communication. Yeah, I get that. Same. A life-sucking vampire.
Here are some results.
Uh, Alexa, cancel. I said a life-sucking vampire, and she thought I said Alexa. In college, I had a trial class, and I had the bench and everything, including the huge judge chair. It was so comfy. Oh, wow, I bet. That would have been fun. I would have loved to have done a trial class. Oof. I want to take a trial class. Now I have FOMO of trial classes. Can we do that? Can we find somewhere like online? I want to be a prosecuting attorney, and I want to be a defense attorney. I want to try my hand at that, and I want to be a judge. And I want to be a court reporter that gets to talk into the fun thing. And I want to be the court reporter that gets to type on the thing, because I think that looks fun too. I want to do all the jobs. Hey, Alice. Welcome. She said, I finally caught up. I bet he was insufferable in college, right? Chrissy says, Alexa. I said it out loud almost. About to bring up the vampire heat. I know, right? She's probably going to give me some juicy, hold on, let's see what I can find. And then she's going to give me a big bullet list of dirty vampire books or something. Akasha, that's that's very possible. That could explain some of his, personality traits. Because he's very flat. Alice said, I was a crime analyst. You want to do that. It's the ultimate nosy. Funny. All right, you guys, talk amongst yourselves for just a couple minutes. I got to run and check on kiddo. We actually, she needs to be doing her math class right now, because when they're on snow days, their math is an hour earlier than normal. So, yes, a stenographer. I had to go sit through a couple trials for my business law and paralegal classes. I loved it. That sounds like so much fun. Aurelia says, okay, I'll get a Latin video made for the kiddos. Miss King says, Akasha, I think that could be possible. Yeah. I think it's definitely possibility. Rodney, they know something's up, but they don't know what yet. They don't know about the CSAM yet. And the judge and the state are doing everything they can to keep it out. So, doing everything they can to keep it out. All right, you guys, I'm going to have to, hate to, but I got to go get her set up for her virtual math class. It is on. We're in real time. Volume is all the way up. I'm going to mute myself, turn off my camera, and get her set up, and I will be with you all in the chat until her class is over. It shouldn't be too awful long. They usually last about 20-25 minutes. So in the meantime, until they come back, you guys just chat amongst yourselves. Okay? Okay. Good in the hood? All right. I will be back.
All right, Mr. Moore.
Now, just for the purpose of the record, you sustain the state's objection. Is that correct?
I did as far as that.
Yes, sir. After, Zach, after you read the deposition you referenced of Christina Parcell, what did you come to conclude or believe?
I believed that based on various things she freely admitted to in her deposition, that she had a history of using and manipulating men in order to get money and in offering sexual services in return. She admitted to being a pornographic actress and producing a film in South Carolina where she rubbed her feet on a man's penis. She admitted to using sugardaddyforme.com, where she sought out romantic relationships with older men with a clear emphasis on it being a trade, essentially a reciprocal thing, where she was seeking out to be taken care of financially. She said that she had a general disinterest in having children at the time, which is why that she gave up custody of her daughter to John Mello when her daughter was very young. Her lawyer took the...
Objection, Your Honor.
I'm going to sustain the objection.
Okay.
You can ask him, like we said, as far as just the effect it had on him,
Understand.
not the specific details.
Understand.
Move on.
Zach, a little while ago I asked you about documents that John gave you in addition to details he provided you, information. We talked about the deposition. Let me show you Defense Exhibit 56. Let me show you Defense Exhibit 56. Is that also a document that John Mello gave you?
Yes,
Did you read it?
I did.
During this time, the defense removed Defense Exhibit 56 into evidence?
State objects based on the same objection we had in the prior,
Yep.
the prior issue. I think Your Honor's ruling was that he can talk about how it had an effect on him, but not to go into the details.
Your Honor, this is a separate exhibit. It's different than the deposition. It's just a few pages. I'd be happy to argue on this.
I'm going to allow this to come in.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. This is, so again, I will renew my motion to enter Defense Exhibit 56 into evidence, and it's admitted. Is that correct, Your Honor? Zach, take a look at Defense Exhibit 56. Would you, for the jury, let me look at it. Let's see. Zach, this is an affidavit of a man named Alex Fields, is that correct?
Yes.
And I just want to go over this affidavit for you, or with you. Based on your understanding of this affidavit and your communications with John Mello, how did John become aware of this information that led to this affidavit?
John posted an ad on Craigslist asking for information about a woman named Christina Lorraine Purcell, aka Caroline Warren, and he provided photographs to identify her by.
Is page 2 of the affidavit this advertisement on Craigslist?
Yes.
Okay, let's go to page 1 of the affidavit. Would you please read the second paragraph of this affidavit?
I was at Hall's Chop House in downtown Greenville, South Carolina, when a woman approached me. She said hello and proceeded to ask if I was looking for a date. She said something to the effect of inviting me to bed for an amount of money and that we would not be rushed at all. When I refused her proposition, she proceeded to offer me narcotics. I refused and ended the encounter at that point.
Would you please read just the first sentence of the third paragraph?
There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that this woman is the woman that I saw on Craigslist.
And Zach, again, the woman in this advertisement on Craigslist, who's that woman?
Christina Parcell.
Zach, I want to talk about other information John Mello had provided you. You heard testimony from investigator Dan Bell. Do you remember that testimony?
I do.
And do you recall in the state's case in chief, Dan Bevel, both in direct examination and cross-examination, testifying that he had met Christina Parcell in his official capacity before he began his investigation of the letters that were sent?
I remember.
And isn't it true that John Mello shared information with you about interactions he had had with Dan Bell?
Objection. Your Honor, I need a curative instruction on that.
You know, I totally disagree, and I'm happy to argue.
regulations. I just had to take up some legal issues with the attorneys. Y'all are gonna get your steps in today. Please proceed.
Yes. So, Zach, you testified about information that John has provided you related to concerns he had about Christina Parcell, especially in conjunction with Aida Mello. We talked about the time period April. I want to move to May. In May of 2021, were you and John Mello continuing to communicate about the situation?
Yes.
In May of 2021, what, if anything, did John ask you to do for him?
Given the extremely grave nature of John's concerns for his daughter, especially while she was in the custody of her mother, Christina Parcell, and potentially being exposed to her mother's boyfriend, Brad Post, who John believed was a pedophile and is a pedophile.
Objection.
Sustained. I instruct you to totally disregard the last comments made by this defendant.
And Zach, could you just tell this jury what John asked you to do?
Yes. Given his concerns, John asked me that if I believed his daughter was in grave danger, would I be willing to kill Christina Parcell for $5,000?
What did you say when he asked you that?
I was shocked and insulted by the request, and I gave him an immediate and unequivocal no.
So he offered you $5,000 if you would kill Christina Parcell, and you said no.
That's correct.
At some point, did he revisit that subject?
Yes.
Did he make you another offer?
Yes, he did.
How long after the first offer did he make the second offer?
I'm not certain, but I would say maybe 2 or 3 weeks later.
Tell this jury about that.
He was becoming increasingly more worried and distressed about the safety of his daughter. I was as well. The more I learned about this situation and everything, and a lot more than what I've told you, I was also.
Sustained.
What was the second offer?
The second offer, he asked me again, if I became convinced that his daughter was in danger, would I be willing to kill Christina Parcell for $10,000?
What did you, or how did you respond to that offer?
I told him, John, there's no amount of money that would ever tempt me to do something like this. And I told him I was insulted that he even thought that would be something I would consider. So I told him I would never do something like this for money. I told him the only way I would ever consider taking action like this is if I was absolutely convinced that his daughter was not only in danger, but that the only way to rescue her from that danger would be to take Christina Parcell's life.
Let's talk about what else is going on in your life in May of 2021. Tell this jury what you're doing with the music project with Tom Strange, how that's going.
We'd been at the project recording the sonatas in the museum, like I talked about, for about 5 months. This, of course, I was doing in conjunction with all the help I was trying to provide John and Aida. So the music project on its own would have been incredibly stressful. And with everything else, I was just approaching burnout. Honestly, I was having a really hard time meeting my deadlines. And I was worried that the quality of the work I was doing was going to be going down. And I was just at the point where I needed a vacation, honestly.
And we're going to get to that in just a second. Tell the jury about your compensation as it relates to the music project with Tom Strange.
It was just an arrangement of a flat fee for all 32 sonatas. I was going to receive $5,000.
And if you broke that down on an hourly basis, how much were you getting paid per hour for that project?
Probably less than $1, but it was a labor of love.
During this time, were you also doing other things to try to make money to support yourself, or was it?
Yes, I was giving some outdoor concerts on the Wind's lawn, and these were donation-based, so people were supporting me financially in that regard.
You talked about needing a vacation at the end of May. Describe a little bit more to the jury the fatigue and why you believed at the end of May that a break would do you some good.
Well, I needed a break. My nature is usually to just try to push through stuff like that. I can push myself too far. So I was not necessarily seeking out a break or a vacation, but I was definitely at the point where I needed one for the sake of my work, for the sake of my health.
Did you get that break?
Yes, I did.
Describe for the jury how that came about.
Like I said, John and I were communicating pretty much every day at this point. Much of it, if not most of it, about Aida, but I was also mentioning to him what I was doing. Certainly times when he needed me to do something and I would have to say, I can't, I'm practicing, I'm recording something like this. So he told me, I think he said, like in the rock and roll business, we say you have a monkey on your back. Like the project is starting to own you and you just need to step away from it. You're too close to it and you've been in it for too long. So he suggested that I come and visit him in Italy.
Did you take him up on that suggestion?
Yes, I did.
Initially, what was your reaction to that offer?
Initially, I didn't want to. Like I said, it's my nature to just kind of push through things, but with some more time, I realized that some time off from the piano would probably do me good.
So when did you go to Italy to visit John?
I think in either the very last days of May or first days of June, 2021.
Who paid for your travel?
I did.
When you arrived in Italy, where did you stay?
I stayed at John Mell's apartment.
How long were you there?
Between 3 and 4 weeks.
Do you remember where in Italy you were?
Yes, it was a town called Rovigo. It's not too far from Venice.
When you were visiting in Italy, where was Aida Mello?
She was in Greenville with her mother.
Even though Aida was not in Italy, while you were in Italy, did you have an opportunity to see Aida?
Yes, I did.
Describe for the jury what that opportunity was.
John had video visits ordered by the guardian ad litem, who you've seen before, Vanessa Cornlow, to have video visits twice a week with Aida. So he even with the time difference, was always setting timers and alarms and making me set timers and alarms to make sure he wouldn't be late for these visits. Like, he lived for these visits every week. So often it might be 11 p.m. or midnight in Italy, but that was when Aida was free, so that's when they'd have their visit. And I would often be within earshot to where I could hear their conversation. Often I would be able to observe the screen of his phone or computer, so I could see Aida's face, her disposition. And on one occasion, I said hi to her.
What did you notice about her, or what did you conclude about her while you were watching Aida during these visitations?
So John had been telling me for weeks, Zach, Christina's killing my little girl. Like, I can see the spark dying in her eyes. And again, when I first heard that, I thought, aren't you being a little dramatic? Like, I hadn't seen her, but it just seemed a bit much. When I saw her in these visits, I didn't feel that way anymore. She was not the same little girl that I had known in Greenville when I first met them. She had put on a great deal of weight, probably about 20 pounds, which is roughly a quarter of her body weight. For an 8-year-old girl, that's a lot in a short period of time, but it was much more than that. It was her demeanor. Her spirit was just, she was morose, she was depressed. Like, that spunky, precocious, lively little girl that I had met was just not present there. It was a complete change in character. And I mean, John would ask her how she was doing, and she would always try to give a good response. Like, she would try to smile and say, "Oh, I'm fine, Daddy," and try to put on a good face. But it was clear that she was doing that because she didn't want to worry her dad. She didn't want him to realize how poorly she was doing, and it just reminded me so much of myself when I was a little older than she was, with what I've previously described with Grace. It's this, you internalize things. Like, she's a strong person, and she was trying to be stronger than she was probably ready to be at that age. And despite the stoic, strong exterior she was trying to put on, I could just see that she was being tortured. Like, she was drowning. And him saying that the spark was dying in her eyes was absolutely accurate. I could see it, I could hear it in her voice, I could tell it in her demeanor.
So,
I'm back, guys. I'm back.
when you came,
This is crazy.
when did you leave Italy to return to Greenville County?
At the end of June 2021.
When you returned to Greenville in June of 2021, based on everything that you knew and had been made aware of, and I want to start in June, what, if anything, in June of 2021 did you do to act on what you knew?
I had described the mailers that I had put together before, and the state has talked about them a lot. All of these mailers contained information that I believe had been put out publicly and by Christina Parcells' free will. So this was all information that had been available publicly, and that, to the best of my knowledge, was true. And I began to send these mailers to Christina Parcell and her boyfriend and people in the neighborhood for a threefold purpose. I wanted parents around that neighborhood to know that their children were not safe around her or around Brad Post. I wanted different people associated with this, such as the guardian ad litem, the police, to have access to this information so that they would have all the evidence that I was looking at. that clearly demonstrated that Christina Parcell was a danger to children and her own daughter. And I also wanted there to be social pressure on Christina Parcell, because something, again, about people like Grace and Christina Parcell is the facade that they erect around themselves and the image that they put forward to the world is so important to them. They're narcissists. And it is a facade. It's completely untrue. But I was hoping that it wouldn't be worth it to her for other people to see her for what she was, in exchange for her trying to fight to have her daughter.
You sent multiple mailers beginning in June and going into July of 2021, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Did those mailers and the effect those mailers had do anything to alleviate your concerns?
No, they didn't. If anything, Christina Parcell and Brad Post just dug their heels in deeper.
After the mailers were sent, do you know whether or not they had any effect on Rebecca? I want to talk about after the mailers were sent, did you learn of a video call or about a video call that John, who was in Italy, had with Aida, who was in Greenville?
Yes.
What did you learn about that video call?
Shortly after these mailers would have arrived, John described a call to me where he said Christina was, at the end of the call, she took the phone and turned it towards her face, which she usually did not do. And he said she was more angry than I've ever seen her. And he would often talk about how you would never see her angry, like she was very good at controlling her emotions and not showing if you had made her angry. And she took the phone and didn't say anything, but just slid her finger across her throat as if that she was threatening that she was going to have him killed for what she believed he was doing.
After the mailer, or the last mailer, did John share with you any information he had received via email?
Yes, he well, he didn't describe it, he sent it to me. An email he had received from someone he knew in the biker community, motorcycles. And Brad Post was also involved in the biker community, or at least tried to be. And this email was from this acquaintance of John, telling John that Brad Post had been going around essentially asking for someone to, quote, put the hurt on John Mello, and that he was offering a lot of money to make this happen.
Another sidebar. LaTanya, I know his moves are creepy. It's just so robotic, like slow and steady and just creepy. Creepy. The way he looks between people when he's talking to them is very slow and like, yeah. They did see Morales. Yes, they did. And right, the jury can't unhear that.
I'm going to sustain you, Jack.
Hey, P. Lola.
To your side.
It's been really good so far, P. Lola.
Zach, we talked about the fact that you testified that you sent the mailers, you've explained why. I want to talk about something else you did for the purpose of acting on a concern.
P-Lola, yeah, at one point, probably about what, 20, 30, 45 minutes, I lost track of time ago, he said in front of the jury that Brad Post was a Pedialyte. Only he didn't say that, he said the real word.
Take a look at what's been marked as Defense Exhibit 47. Is that an affidavit that you completed for the purpose or in connection with the pending family court litigation between John Mello and Christina Parcell?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, this is defense counsel's version. This is already in evidence. The state put that in. Zach, let's talk about this affidavit.
Is that the one from September?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes. Zach, why did you draft this affidavit?
I was extremely concerned about the danger that Aida was in, and I wanted to try to provide the family court with information about my opinion and my observations about her that would hopefully cause them to return Aida to John so that she would no longer be in danger.
Did this affidavit, well, let me back up. To whom did you send this affidavit?
I had it notarized, and then I think I scanned it and probably emailed it to John or left it with his family court attorney, Samantha Larkins, at the time.
One second. Let's move on. So that affidavit was, I believe, September the 21st of 2021, is that correct?
I don't remember the date other than it being in September.
I'll show it to you.
Yes, the 21st day of September 2021.
And you testified that after you submitted that affidavit, that did not do anything to alleviate your concerns, is that correct?
That is correct.
Did you take another step to try to act on your concerns for Aida?
Yes.
And did you take that step at the end of September or beginning of October?
Yes, I made a phone call to Child Protective Services, and I told them that I was a neighbor. So I told them that I had seen Aida being verbally and physically abused by her mother. And again, I made that up. That's not true. but I said it because I wanted to give Aida an opportunity to have FaceTime in person with an agent from DSS away from her mother, where she could tell them that her mother was sexually abusing her.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained. You are to disregard the last 5 minutes from this witness.
Zach, let me ask this.
He got it in, he got it in, he got it in.
You talked about Child Protective Services. Is that in South Carolina, is that called DSS?
I think they may be part of the same entity, I'm not sure.
And so did they do anything to alleviate your concerns?
No.
Did that surprise you at all?
No.
In fact, you testified earlier about Virginia and Grace. Did you and your family have interaction with the DSS in Virginia
Yes, we did.
over Grace?
Yes, when I discovered the journal I had mentioned before about Grace's plans to murder my family, we called DSS and asked for her to be taken out of the home. And they did this, and after a few weeks of hearing Grace's stories and lies, they took her side. They failed to recognize what they were dealing with her. And they tried to have my parents put in jail and the rest of me and my siblings put in foster care. And we eventually had to sue them, and it was about a 2-year-long court battle. And that left an indelible impression on me, just as to how even experts can be wrong sometimes. And when they are wrong, it's so dangerous because everyone believes them because they're the experts. But sometimes you know what you know, and you know it's true, and even if an expert might think differently, it doesn't mean they're right. And DSS did a lot of damage to my family in those 2 years.
So ultimately, Grace was removed from your family, is that correct?
Yes.
Your other Russian siblings were not, were they?
No.
Yes.
And in fact, Faith, one of your Russian siblings, has been in the courtroom all week, is that correct?
Yes.
And photos, of course.
So, you testified to this jury about the information you received from John Mello about his concerns. You've testified to the jury about the documents you consulted about those concerns. You testified to the jury what you came to believe. You testified to the jury about the mailers you sent, about the affidavit you submitted, and now about the call to DSS. After you had done all these things to act on your concerns, and nothing had been done, tell this jury in early October of 2021, what's going on in your mind? What are you thinking?
I was still in the middle of this music project, so I had a lot on my plate there just professionally, and of course I was continuing and even increasing my support to help John save his daughter, Aida.
Okay, let me go back. On the videos, Ween Baby, now that Akasha says that, pictures for sure, not sure about videos. I know, like she said, pictures for sure. I'm pretty sure that videos were included too. But I know that last night when I was watching Gigi's recap on her YouTube channel on Pretty Lies and Alibis, she was talking about all the different devices, thumb drives and stuff that they collected the thousands of pictures and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos. There were thousands of each. And I know that they said that there were pictures of them together. I'm pretty sure video too, but now that I can't guarantee that part. But I would definitely go back and listen to Gigi's recap from last night because she tells us a lot of information that we weren't able to hear that happened yesterday after the jury left. So, really good information.
And since June, when I had returned, I had been absolutely convinced that Christina Parcell was sexually abusing her daughter.
Let's go.
Take the jury.
What did the state say? Sound like he said something daggone it. Hold on, I gotta rewind that and hear that back.
I had been out to help continuing it, so I had a lot on my plate there just professionally, and of course I was continuing and even increasing my support to help John save his daughter, Aida. And since June, when I had returned, I had been absolutely convinced that Christina Parcell was sexually abusing her daughter.
Let's go.
Take the jury.
He definitely said the words doggone it. Oh, he said, Your Honor, gosh darn it. Oh my God. And then he said, take him out. Talking about the jury. Wow. So I have a couple of things now that I'm thinking, okay? I'm wondering if the jury, because when it's mentioned, every time it's mentioned, the prosecution flips his lid. I'm wondering, and it's always about the CSAM. So I'm wondering if the jury is not getting the impression that they're doing that because they think that he's lying. You know what I'm saying? Not that he is. I'm just saying I wonder if because they're objecting like that, is that making the jury think that they're objecting and the judge is sustaining those objections because they think it's not true. You know what I'm saying? And that he's saying that to make it look better for him. I know, Miss King, I know. But what I'm saying is the jury, from their perspective, every time it's mentioned, they get slung out of the room, you know? And so I'm wondering if they're like, in their mind thinking, the judge isn't letting him say this. It's probably because he's not telling the truth. He's probably lying. Because why would they think that they would hold that from them? You know what I mean? In their minds, they're probably thinking if that's true, they would let us know that. But no, they won't. They're not letting you know that. Maybe not because they saw what's-his-face in jail clothes. Yeah, and they never did say what the charges were for. But you think he's saying it to warrant a mistrial? Maybe. I mean, they very well could. Lord, Lord, Lord. Lord, Lord, Lord. Let me go over here to the X, Twitter. Ooh, hold on, I got some stuff. Okay, Gigi said 42 minutes ago, Zach just told the jury Christina was sexually abusing her daughter. The jury is looking around at each other and us. Oh, wait. The jury is looking around at each other and us after Zach said that Christina was sexually abusing her daughter. Zach Hughes again said Christina was sexually abusing their daughter. The solicitor literally yells, and the jury is sent out. Solicitor is the prosecutor. Someone named Nina Wright says it's clear that Hughes' attorneys planned a parallel argument in the likely event that the judge continues to strike all references to CSAM. We're hearing instead about confronting and recognizing pure evil in both his sister and Parcell. I hope someone ever so slightly nodded at the jury like, yep, she did. 37 minutes ago, Gigi says, judge says this is in direct violation of his ruling. State says they won't ask for a mistrial, but asks they stop his testimony. Wow. Someone named Sandra Lynn replies to Gigi saying, shocked they didn't ask for a mistrial. I don't know how they move forward with the jury knowing that information. I think he might have just succeeded with jury nullification. Thanks for your coverage, Gigi. 30 minutes ago, Gigi says drama in the Rose Petal murder trial. And then 26 minutes ago, she says lunch until 2. Okay. Another Rose Petal murder update. It's getting wild in the courtroom. I agree, Miss King. He does. He has a complete right to testify. The thing is the judge ruled no. So, what do you do? What do you do? I don't know. I don't know. Right? You know that jury's just staring at each other in the room in disbelief, right? Rise of Phoenix said the judge should have just let the evidence in the first place. I mean, I think that it would have been smarter to have done that because I don't know. The whole reason that he didn't was because the judge felt like it was more prejudice against her, against the victim. Right, Wing Baby? That jury's just staring at each other in that room like, what? Or they could think, why is the prosecutor against this? If it was not true, the prosecutor could just redirect. Yeah, that's true. Mistrial. Well, Morgana said, I think the mom was a horrible human being and needed to be punished, but I don't think that gives Zach permission to go all the purge on her. He should be punished for his actions too, in my opinion. I agree with that. I do agree with I don't think he has a right to walk free from it. Absolutely not. No. No matter the situation. No. Oh, he just said I could read his lip. We're going on break until 2 o'clock. He's fed up, man. He's like, Urgh. He's like this right here. Urgh. He's big mad. I don't blame him. I don't blame him because they did what, but at the same time, it's the whole, I keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I want him to get the CSAM material out there. Not the material itself, but the fact that it exists and that she was doing this. But also, I don't know. So strange. Hey, Gina. Good to see you, girlfriend. This funny business was such an important part of this case, it should never have been suppressed. I think they want to try their luck with a new judge. Well, I mean, if they can't include all that happened, then how do they expect a fair verdict? Right. Hey, Melinda. Right. Jeez. How can you go on the stand to defend yourself if you can't even talk about why you did it? Ween Baby said, I think they'll catch on. Ween Baby said, I bet one of them Googles. You know they will. You know they will. Rise of Phoenix said it would have been prejudiced if it didn't directly result in her murder. This is the why. Right. Right. But see, and that's the thing. That's the thing. They're saying it did, but in reality, did he know? Or did he just do it because John Mello told him to? Or offered the money? Because again, I mentioned this earlier, that CSAM material was not found until after she was murdered. So, if there was no CSAM confirmed until after she was murdered, then how did he know about the CSAM to murder her, to go and murder her? Unless, like I said, like somebody said in the chat, I can't remember who it was, said unless the little girl told him that it was happening, But I did miss some of the testimony from him while I was helping Kiddo with her math class. So if something like that did happen, then I missed it. I could see, I guess, keeping it out if he was not testifying, but with him testifying, he should be able to bring it up. Judge is mad. He's big mad. Get the gavel. I know. Where is it? Here it is. Hold on, let me get it. I can't reach it. Oh, God. Oh, clang and bang bang. Here, hold on. Let's do this the right way. Mm-hmm. Look. There we go. That's my Gail gavel. I don't know if Gail's here today in the chat. Let's see. Yes, David, he's been on the stand all day, man. He's been on the stand all day. You've got to rewind it and watch it. Ooh, it's been good. It's been so good. This information is so prejudicial that the jury may just think she deserves to. Right. And see, that's why I feel like that's exactly why the judge wants it to be kept out. And the prosecution. But if he's saying it's the reason he did it, if that's why he did it, we need some daggone case law, man. Hey, Gail is lurking. Hey, Gail. Hey. I got my Gail gavel. Right. Yep. Ween Baby said, I was just about to say, case law. He did see Morales. He got it in like 3 times. 3 times. Oh, 100%. 100%. Christina's daughter would have been another Maddie Soto. Absolutely. Well, she basically was another Maddie Soto. I mean, pretty much. But thank God her life wasn't taken. A public service unaliving. And jokingly I can say that. Thank God he took the trash out, but constitutionally and in real life, yeah. You can't go around killing people, man. Can't go around killing people. So she's not here to defend herself. For all we know, she was being blackmailed into doing these things. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's possible, but I don't I don't buy that. I don't buy that. I mean, according to what Gigi said yesterday on her video recap, there were hundreds and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of photos and videos. And what would she be blackmailed? I mean, what would you blackmail her with? Her nude photos? You know? I would way rather let somebody see my nude photos than be blackmailed into doing something to my children, because that would not happen. Period, point blank. Mm-mm. Yeah, I don't know. Mm-mm. Yeah. I'm with the others, David. I'm sorry. I have to say I'm with the others. As a mother, there ain't no amount of no kind of blackmail that you're going to get me to do anything like that to my kid, my baby. Nope. And if she is able to be blackmailed into doing something like that, then that's just as bad as doing it anyway. So, the cautious says nope, then it would be me sitting up there getting in trouble in court being called a weirdo. Mm-mm-mm. I just can't believe that he got it out there like that. And did you notice that he was like he each time he would say something, he would gear up to say it. And then when he wanted to, he'd say it real fast, like before the prosecution had time to zip, 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 make him zip it up, you know? mm. Ween Baby says, when you get blackmailed stuff, you don't get thousands and thousands. You only need one. Yeah. You're not the only one that's not green, Ween Baby. Come in here in the other account. Oh my God. C. Morales says nothing would make me do anything like that to my kids. I can't wrap my head around that. Yeah, I can't. Uh-uh. Hey, Cherie. Good to see you, girlfriend. How are you? And Courtney. Ooh, look at that. Sherry just gifted 5 Crime Cafe memberships. Yay! Look at that. Welcome, new members. Yes, thank you, Sherry. Thank you, thank you. Let me give you some sparkle. We love a little sparkle. Thank you so much. Who are the members? Who got the memberships? I always have to go look and see who got the memberships because I'm nosy like that. Let's see. Ooh, Cat Coco got one. Supermom got one. Miss Stone, Monica C, and Lisa M. Congratulations, you guys. If you happen to see this, if you happen to see this and you're in the chat, give Sherry a big old squishy hug and thank her for her gifted membership. I appreciate that, Sherry. Very kind, very kind. Ah, she tried, she said. Morgana says, I'm blue, Ween Baby. Bub Smith texted, she says, I texted my mom and was like, turn on court TV. And she was like, I've been watching. And she's been watching this trial too. Tell her to come over here, heifer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just called Ween Baby / Bub Smith a heifer. So funny. Tell her to come over here. Don't send her to court TV. Send her to the crime cafe, ma'am. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Et tu, Brute? She's not into the whole YouTube thing. I can try. Well, don't worry. Don't worry about it. I just thought it'd be cool to have another, mom and daughter duo. We like those mom and daughter duos. Well, if she's got a personality like you do, and she was hanging out with us in the chat along with you, I don't know if I could handle it, because that's too much cuteness at one time. I mean, two big personalities, another personality like Ween Baby, man. Come join the heifers, yeah. I love my heifers. My heifers. Oh, my heifers, my heifers, my heifers. So my big thing every time is to say, you just a big old heifer. Ha, ha, ha. Does anybody know what that quote comes from? What movie that quote comes from? You just a big old heifer. Ha, ha, ha. Okay, so they are on lunch until 2 o'clock. That means 2:30. Now, hold on a minute. I got to go back and find David. Where did David go? David made that comment, and all the mamas in the chat went womp, womp, womp. And David ain't said another word. David, get your butt back here. You ain't allowed to up and leave us. No, ma'am. Or no, sir. Nope. Nerp. Get back here, David. You ain't going nowhere. Morgana says, my mom would say totally inappropriate things. She has no filter. Oh, I love that. She does say inappropriate things, but that's because she has an inappropriate daughter. David says, I'm here. Okay, good. Just checking, just making sure. I didn't want you to think that we were feeling some kind of way at you, because we're not. Michelle says, our yard is covered in snow and it's coming down like white out conditions. Oh, wow. Yeesh. We were supposed to get snow, but my husband woke me up this morning before he left for work. You guys, it's so sweet. See, he used to do this back in the day, and then he went to work night shift for a couple of years. And when he went to work night shift, he quit doing it. But every morning when he would get up for work, he would give me my thyroid medication. So that way, and then I could go back to sleep, because he gets up super early, right? Well, he would give me my thyroid medicine, because when you take thyroid medicine, you're not allowed to eat or drink anything for like 30 minutes to an hour or something, right? Because your body has to be able to absorb just the thyroid stuff. Anything else, and the thyroid won't absorb like it should. So, I mean, that's just a rule with thyroid. Anybody that takes thyroid medicine knows that you're supposed to do that. But he would give me my thyroid medicine before he would leave at like 4 or 5 in the morning. And then I would get up to get the kids, my older kiddo, ready for school. And whenever I would get up a couple hours later, then I had already had my thyroid medicine, and he did that so that I could have my coffee. Right? David, come back. You can blame it all on me. There you go, Morgana. So he would give me my thyroid medicine just so I could have my coffee. Well, then 2 years went by and he was... Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't tell you guys what... It's from the movie The Color Purple. The Color Purple. Yes. The Color Purple. It is one of my all-time favorite movies. Ever. So, anyway, the nobody guessed it. I can't believe that. No Color Purple fans in here. Epic classic movie. If you've never seen it, with Whoopi Goldberg and Danny Glover and God, Oprah Winfrey's in it. It's so good. But anyway, the thyroid. He went a couple years working night shift, and so he was asleep by the time, I would get up. So, oh, The Color Purple is so good. I was talking about the heifer part when Squeak, or whatever her name was, would called Oprah that. You just a big old heifer. Ha, ha, ha. And then she hops up and just pops her in the head and the face, and she goes sliding across and lands down in that big old hole full of water. Probably, Gina. Probably. Seeley. No, wait. See, I get the names messed up again. Seeley and... But what was Oprah's name in the movie? Ophelia? Was it Ophelia? I can't remember. But anyway, he started giving me my thyroid medicine again. I keep going back and forth between that and the thyroid thing. He started giving me my thyroid medicine again this past week. And so, when he woke me up this morning, Miss Seeley was the singer lady. No. Sophia. That's it. Ophelia. Where did I get that from? It was Sophia. Sophia. Yeah, I remember him saying that. Sophia. Ween Bub. Hey, look at you. Ween Bub. Test. This is only a test. Ween Bub. Now, Akasha the singer was, daggone it. I'm going to have to go look. But let me get this out. whenever he went to give me my thyroid medicine this morning, this is what I've been trying to say for 15 minutes. When he went to give me my thyroid medicine this morning, he said, we were supposed to get snow and then we ain't got nothing. So it didn't do anything here. And it was supposed to. Shug Avery. That's it. Her name was Shug Avery, the singer. I didn't even have to Google it. It just came to me. Shug Avery. Celie was Whoopi Goldberg, but I forget the sister's name. We're getting it here. How much have you got, Michelle? How much did you get? Sophia was married to Harpo, which is Oprah backwards. Yes. You're right, David. I forgot about that. Harpo. You remember that part wherever, I think it was Harpo when he was a little boy, when it was showing him when they were kids, and Harpo had went to put the saddle on the horse and he wasn't paying attention and he let loose of it. Nettie, that's it. Thank you. Yes. No cavities. Yay, Donnie. Good job. But when he went to put the saddle on the horse had run off. On the ground it went. Yep. That's such a good movie. I love it. P. Lola says, I'm going back 2 hours and going at 1.75. Whoa. Well, I think you'll be all right with Zach's testimony at 1.75 because he talks rather slow. So, yeah. Ween Baby says, I need to switch the accounts around and take this one back, but he watches so much junk, the algorithm will never go back to normal. It will eventually. I mean, see, like right now, my algorithm is pulling up like, my algorithm is full of, my news feed is full of, hold on and I'll tell you what it's full of. Hold on. Well, currently it's full of law and crime network stuff, right? But it's also full of gossip, rumor, and innuendo, Emily D. Baker, Jennifer Coffindaffer, Gigi, home organizing, decluttering videos, yeah. Here's one, low back pain videos for low back pain. Low back pain relief, plus size standing and grounded stretch. Because I've been looking at stuff to try to help my back. A lot of Sebastian Rogers videos because that's what I usually try to scope out late at night is stuff on Sebastian Rogers, which is not factual. I mean, it's, you know what I'm saying, what the different creators who chit chat about Sebastian Rogers late at night. And, but you really have to sift through Sebastian Rogers videos because a lot of it is nothing but pure drama. And I ain't into that. Um, so that's what most of mine is. So Ween Baby, I'm gonna have to keep calling you Ween Baby. I can't call you Ween Bub with a straight face. Mm. Ay, 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 ay. Stephen Stearns is going on trial. Oh yeah, Ween Baby. Yeah, he's good. He's good. Yeah, he's very, very good. And he gives the facts stuff. And he keeps the drama llama stuff, you know. But absolutely love Lore Lodge. He's done a lot of incredible videos about Sebastian Rogers and the ins and outs of the relationship fiasco junk. So, oh, you have back issues too? Somatic Pilates? What is somatic Pilates? Oh, thank you, Henny. See, I'm getting way off track here. Thank you, Henny. In May, Missy said Ween Baby or Henny. So, Ween Baby / Missy / Ween Bub. The Stephen Stearns trial for the CSAM was supposed to be at the end of this month, but they backed it up till May, I think. His murder trial is not supposed to take place till later on this year, but I don't remember what month for sure. And I need to know what somatic Pilates is. They do keep trying to drag him into it, and he's too smart for that. I heart the Aidens too. I heart the Aidens too. Supposed to help stretch you out and release tension and trauma we hold in our body. Ooh, I gotta look into that because God knows I've got grief and trauma built from my head to my toes. Gentle. Morgana says, I may try getting back into Pilates and yoga after I heal from my surgery. I need to. I'm so out of shape. That sounds good. That sounds good. I will say this. If you are interested in Sebastian Rogers content, the 15 / it was 15 when he went missing in February 25th, 26th of last year. We're coming up on a year for that little boy. He turned 16 while he's missing. He has autism. He's from Hendersonville, Tennessee. for the straight up facts, I guess, so to speak, there's really been nothing put out other than what TBI and their local, police departments and sheriff's offices have put out. But they haven't put out a statement in a very long time. Dog the Bounty Hunter is actually helping, look for him to help find him. But yeah, it's a wall/floor Pilates. Okay. I'll have to look into that. Somatic. I need to write that word down. Somatic. Somatic Pilates. Ween Baby says, wish his parents would just say what happened. Yeah. Me too. I feel it in my bones that they know a lot more than they're saying. But that's just my speculation. And I would love to talk about that on my channel, but I am not here for the drama. No way. No way. And I feel like there's no good way to talk about that case without dragging it in or being dragged into it, the drama. And I'm not about that. Nope. Ain't got time for it. No time, no energy, no. Alice, the only thing I can figure that they yelled was, I think a lot of us in the chat agreed that it sounded like the prosecution yelled, Your Honor, daggone it. Get him out or run him out or something. And then the judge said, let's take the jury out. And then apparently they went in for lunch. Not supposed to be back till 2, which means the stream won't begin till 2:30 because of the 30-minute delay that the judge has forced. Somatic yoga too. Okay. Donnie, I was talking about the Sebastian Rogers case. Ween Baby said they swoop in and act like they own the case, from what I've seen anyway. Oh. Well, that's succinct and very Southern. I approve. Right? Oh, you're not familiar with that one, Donnie? It has my heart. And it kills me because I want to talk about it. But I'm not going to until we have some sort of movement, factual movement, so to speak. Now, don't get me wrong. I appreciate the ones that are out there that are, doing the social media aspect part of it. The ones that stay drama free anyway, Akasha, right. I don't know how that's going to go. And I'm wondering if we're even going to get to hear it. Akasha says, so are they going to object the crap out of this kid when she gets up there and testifies? Because not cool, right? I don't know. I don't know. No idea. Mm-mm-mm. Bum 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 bottom. Bum 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 bottom bottom bum 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 bottom. Bottom 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 bum. Bottom bottom bum bum bum. Okay. I'm going to, because they're at lunch, I'm going to go ahead and start. Oh no! Pope Francis slept peacefully. Ate breakfast following diagnosis of pneumonia in both lungs. Oh no. Sorry, I'm just reading this. What is this? Pope Francis slept well and ate breakfast on Wednesday morning after he was diagnosed with pneumonia in both lungs, according to the Vatican. Matteo Bruni, a spokesperson for the Vatican, said Francis had a peaceful fifth night in Rome's Gemelli Hospital. He had a tranquil night, woke up and had breakfast. Vatican said Tuesday that Francis, who had upper lobe of his right lung removed when he was young, had been diagnosed with pneumonia in both his lungs, and that lab tests, chest x-ray, and the Pope's clinical condition continued to present a complex picture. Polymicrobial infection, which arose on a picture of bronchiectasis and asthmatiform bronchitis, and which required the use of antibiotic cortisone therapy, makes the therapeutic treatment more complex. Well, is he going to be okay? The Vatican said Wednesday the Pope remains in good spirits and is grateful for the prayers for his recovery. Aw, that's not good. Sorry, I went off to my home screen and I know, it freaked me out, Donnie. It freaked me out when I was reading it. He's okay. He's okay. I know. I was like, ah. Sorry, didn't mean to scare everybody to death. I'm so sorry. Michelle says, I hope they just each depose the child and don't put her on the stand. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. No, I did. No, he's fine. He's got pneumonia, though, in both lungs. He had a good breakfast. It just popped up on my screen, on my news screen. I went to open a new tab so that I could go get some stuff real quick to start a news stream, and saw that. And I was like, oh, Lord, what's going on with the Pope? Yeah, he's been sick. I've been seeing stuff off and on, but, you know. Oh, wait, is David talking about the Pope or this dude on this Zachary Hughes? I'm sorry. That comment just came in like perfect timing. So I don't know if David's talking about the Pope. Or Zachary Hughes. Ooh, I bet they are, Michelle. I bet. Some dogs love that kind of stuff. My dog, she loved snow when she was little. Um, but then now as she's gotten older, she's nah. He said no, Zachary. It was perfect timing when David said that. Like, oh God, that's so funny. Okay, youngins. I'm going to start a new stream because it is, well, let me see, 30, 40 minutes. 30, 40 minutes. Donnie said, I was like, wow. I was thinking, but I remembered he said he was going to go back and catch up on the testimony, and I was like, I think he's talking about Zachary. I think he's talking about Zachary. He's playing catch up on his TV. That's so funny. That was funny. Bow, chicka, bow, 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 chicka, bow, bow. And then I see something that says, oh my goodness, on my homepage again, it says 25 cover songs that are better than the originals. And there's a picture of Tina Turner. And I'm thinking, my instantaneous thought was, there ain't no version of anything that Tina Turner has ever sang that the remake is better. No. Mm-mm. No. Mm-mm. Absolutely not. That's a lie. Lie, lie, lie. Donnie. Oh, Lord. We picked enough on David. Well, Alice, you know what? You're right. You're right. She's so good that even her cover of Proud Mary was better than the original, right? She's that good. Oh, there you go, Michelle. Nothing's better than Tina Turner except Tina without Ike. Yeah. Oh my God, Proud Mary. Her version of Proud Mary. Woo. Fire. I wish I could do that dance that she does. But God, that woman had a set of legs. Yeah, right. It's kind of how Cher is too. I kind of feel the same way about Cher. Feel the same way. Oh God, quit it, Jenny. All right, do you guys want me to make a second stream like I've been doing? Like a trial day 6 part 2 after lunch and give you guys the link to it and start it at 2:30, which is about 38 minutes from now. Or that's option number 1. Or option number 2 is to leave this stream up, put an intermission music video up until 2:30 cuz I need to go grab some lunch and yeah, take some Tylenol or something, use the potty, let the dog out, take care of the kiddos, blah, 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 blah. So, let me know. You guys like when I separate the video out? You like when I split them in half? Everybody's saying 1. Okay. 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Oh, that reminds me, I forgot to end the poll yesterday. About Karen Reed, about Alan Jackson with or without the beard. But I looked at it and it was pretty much a landslide. I think there was 1 vote for without. And I think that was it Akasha that was like, y'all are sick with the beards? Y'all sickos. I can't remember if that was Akasha. It was, so I can't remember who that was. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. Well, give me just a minute to get stream number 2 ready to go. And I will give you guys the link. Yeah, it does, Miss King. It does help. For sure. All right, let me run and get this link ready real quick, and I will be right back. We'll feed the ducks. Let's go feed the ducks. Okay, hold on. I thought so. I thought so. I'm going to go create the link and then put it in the chat for you guys for part 2, so don't go nowhere. All right, now let me paste the link to you guys in the chat. Henny, it'll be the second stream will start in about 30 minutes. If you want to hang out. I know it's like, what, 8 o'clock for you? 8 p.m. So it'll start in about 30 minutes. Let me put the link in here. Okay, that word is not spelled right. Hold on. Weird. Okay. There you go. There is the link to part 2. So we'll be over there in about 30 minutes. I'm going to go do all the stuff I said I was going to do, and I'll catch you guys over there momentarily. Thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome sauce. I'm getting I feel like a hiccup burp is coming up. Make sure to thumbs up before you leave. Subscribe if you're new. Replay, #replay in the comments down below if you're watching it on the replay. All right. I'll see you in 30 minutes. Love you, mean it. Bye.